I also
Very
like Les Insectes. That was super fun to practice.
well.
That was my exam topic, by the
Oh
way.
my God. Yeah, that definitely was missing in your case a lot.
I used your notes, like the
Okay.
notes that you guys provided for the speaking mainly. That was super helpful.
Learn French with Axe.
Super helpful.
Bonjour tout le monde. After the grand success of Muskan Patel, which we shot on the podcast, the link is given here. We are here to congratulate another proud student, and that is Sarah. Sarah is somebody who was super diligent, and we are very happy and proud to share her side of a story, which was again not so easy. She had her own share of failures, own share of struggles, and the idea is to share with all of you to take some sort of takeaways from her story and help you all further. So let's not waste time and let's get on to the studio with Sarah.
So let's get on to it. Sarah, we are super, super happy. And thank you so much for taking the time out today to come here. And also, congratulations, not only for the TEF, but also for the ITA. So first thing first, how do you feel? How is it going? Are you able to process it?
Thank you so much. Yes, still processing some days. Some days I'm like, wow, I can't believe I did that.
True.
But super happy to be joining and super happy to have finished it quicker than I expected. I thought I would be there for a few months more. But yeah, we
You
made it.
We made it. Yes, you made it primarily, and we made it for sure. Now, Sarah, so I do not want to bombard you with lots of questions today. The idea is that you speak your heart out, but still, I do have certain questions that I have received from some of my students and also from some of the followers and subscribers who are quite excited to know your part of story. The first thing everybody wants to know. So, how did you start? Was it for you as well? Zero? Did you start from zero like most of us, or did you have any sort of an exposure? What were your timeline like? So that's something that
Mm,
we would like to start with.
yeah, for sure. I wouldn't say I started from 0, 0. I did have some exposure to French in my schooling, but that was a very long time ago, more than a decade ago, I'd say.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, so when I
We don't
started,
call that as an exposure.
not at all. When I began looking at the TEF and what was required, then I knew that I'm basically raw coming to you. And but I did start on my own at first, like looking
Yeah.
at different things, trying to figure out what to do,
Yeah.
what can I do.
Yeah.
And
So when did you actually start? Like when you got to know
mm,
about TEF, so what was your month or year?
vaguely, I'd say I remember starting about a year ago, but it
Okay.
wasn't until like months after that that I actually actively was, studying for the TEF
Studying.
exam,
Yeah.
properly studying. I would say when I started, I was like, okay, let me just listen to some podcasts. Let me just do a bit of grammar each day, practice. But I was kind of directionless. And I didn't know where to go, and I didn't have anyone else doing the TEF with me. It was me on my own. So I was looking online, looking on YouTube. I found your page, reached out to you, and
Yeah.
that really gave me the kind of stamina and structure I needed to be put on the right path, I'd say. And yeah, after that, the rest is history, I
Yeah,
think.
right. So I remember you came to me through a top mid consultation, and I think that was about February. So
Mhm.
prior to that, what you were doing? So this is what you were doing, the self podcast and self grammar. Because when you came to me, I found you like you were good at grammar. So
Mhm.
how did you learn? You had a tutor before, or was it on your own? So what was that?
I had the exposure to grammar a little bit at school.
Okay.
when I was younger, and
Yeah.
then I thought it was a matter of revision because I did see some YouTube videos saying like, okay, buy this grammar book on Amazon, and it was a comprehensive grammar book. But to be honest, up until now, I haven't finished that book. There's only like
Nice.
specific chapters which I really did and revised and were useful for me,
Yeah.
and yeah, that's what I did for the grammar, and I'd say it came along the way. Like, while doing the other aspects of TEF, I was
Yeah.
able to brush up on the grammar, like, gradually while doing that as well. Because for me, at least personally, I felt like just focusing on the grammar would take so long, and perfecting that wasn't going to be very useful. And that I came
Definitely.
to realize later on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, I remember we have had a conversation about it that let's just do grammar, and that's where I directed you that no, let's just not do grammar at all.
Yeah, because I
Yeah,
kept telling you, like, actually, can we like brush up on the grammar first? Because my grammar is so rusty.
yeah.
But I'm glad you told me. I'm glad you
Yeah,
did.
yeah. No, because whatever grammar we needed, honestly, you knew that much. So, but yeah, there were concepts that you did not know, but you pulled it off very
Mm,
nicely. So, which is
mm.
absolutely fine. Now, how did you study? So, how did you study as an individual student, or did you have a group cohort? Were you taking the classes in groups, or how did you take the classes? If you could let the audience know.
Yeah. At the beginning, I was completely alone, as I said,
Mhm.
and then I joined you, and then we were having the one-on-one sessions, and later you guided me and exposed me to the community, which was
Yes.
super helpful for me, honestly.
Yeah.
And then I started like having the motivation to like look like everyone's doing this together, like oh, and I started picking up strategies from other students as well and continuing on the one-on-one sessions with you and Hina
As
ma'am
well.
and Kanika ma'am as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I studied personally. And revision was sometimes together with other students as well. When we had the time to coordinate and coordinate our timings together, it was more motivating than just like sitting in your room alone, like
Yeah.
studying. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So, and I also remember you were telling me that you used to even do the reading listening together. So,
Yeah,
so
that
how
was
did
really
that
fun.
help? How did that
That
help?
was
If you could tell more about that.
Yeah, that was fun because what someone hears you might not hear, or what someone's reading or the way that they're reading, it might open up a different perspective to you, and you pick up tips from each other. And other than that, the main thing was like, the days where you just don't feel motivated in like late night sessions and everything, just
Yeah.
studying with someone else, you can laugh about things together, you're learning things together. That was really good, but we were like not just wasting time though, when someone
Yeah.
was like slacking, the other one was pushing the other, and we nailed down like which tests we wanted to cover, be it like some TCF listening exercises, but the main one I think we used was Prep My Future.
Mm-hmm.
That was the main one we practiced on, and as well as the long texts and resources that you shared with us. Those
Yes.
long texts were really helpful. Like I was aiming for 3 a day at least for the reading.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
listening
because
was like
Mhm.
25 minutes at least, 25 minutes each day if
So
possible.
since we are talking about listening, Sarah, so were you doing the passive listening, like listening to a lot of stuff, or were you also doing the active listening?
Both, both. There was mainly at the beginning the active listening where I
Yeah.
was doing the prep my future and then listen to them, note down the vocabulary. The ones that are repeating itself actually were
Yeah.
super helpful because they do come up sometimes in the exam, the same kind of vocabulary.
Yes.
That was happening, and then when we exhausted those resources, we looked on YouTube for more practice tests,
Yeah.
and then the TCF listening exercises, those were super helpful because you do
Yeah.
get concise ones for
Yeah.
the days when you don't have time.
Yeah.
And the passive listening was happening when I was like, okay, today is not my day for doing active listening, so I'm gonna wash the dishes and listen to a podcast, or I'm gonna listen to RFE while I'm going for a walk, doing the groceries, something like that.
Awesome.
That became my routine later on, but it was a little later on, like closer to the exam, that became a solid.
Okay, so Sarah, I do get a lot of students in the beginning. They do, I do not find them really at the starting of TEF. I mean, I find them little slow. Like the way I found you also in the beginning, you were just absorbing things, and later on,
Mm,
I found you like a fire. So, what exactly changed? Like, how did you maneuver your journey with TEF altogether when after you
yeah.
joined us?
I think, yeah, for sure. I was a
Yeah,
bit slow to reach that point. I think the thing that it was for me, and probably a lot of students as well, is that the TEF kind of seems overwhelming, I guess.
it does.
That's what it was. Like, there's just so many sections. You need to focus speaking, writing, listening. Like, and I would keep repeating this and telling everyone, how is it possible, you know? But I think once I had the one-on-one sessions, I had that tailored
Yeah,
feedback I needed. You were there to correct my errors, which I didn't know
yeah,
I was making. And then,
yeah,
like, it gave me motivation. And also, there were days when I wasn't feeling it, but the schedule was kind of flexible, so I didn't feel
yeah,
like terrible about it.
yeah.
So I think that was it. And then later on, gradually you introduced me to some people who are at my level, and that
Yeah,
was additionally motivating because they were also inspiring to me, or like
yeah,
motivating me to go further. And I'm like, okay, if they can do it really well, why can't I, And
yes,
that gave me the extra push I needed.
absolutely, absolutely. So, Sarah, of course, that's a great takeaway that it does help to have a bunch of both, one-on-one as well as little bit of a cohort to help you keep going. Now, on a fun part, which was your favorite module, and which module was definitely very very hard for you?
The hard one for speaking personally, I think it was le traiteur. That pour les repas, and that was my exam topic, by the
Oh
way.
my God.
I don't know why. The one I really loved was, I think, Jardin partagé or Bâtisseur du monde. Even les
I
insectes.
meant to ask the module. So that was speaking, right?
Oh,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, speaking. Okay. So speaking is like your was your favorite or was not so favorite?
No, 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 no. Speaking was not my favorite at all. I was so nervous. I think you remember how nervous
I
I was every
yeah.
time.
Yeah.
I think writing was my favorite module. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe
Because
I'm a bit
that's
biased because that was my job before doing the TEF as well, but I enjoyed the writing module. It
yeah,
gave us a chance to be creative in both sections, I think.
it does. Yeah, writing does definitely. And listening, reading, which one
Mm,
and why?
listening. Easier for sure, I
Easier.
think.
Yeah.
And yeah, a bit more enjoyable to study for as well. I'm not someone who likes to read for
A
endless
lot.
hours. A lot of the
Yeah.
peers were saying the same thing, but I
Yeah.
think like as time goes, it becomes easier for sure.
Yeah. No, definitely. I do understand. And I do remember the speaking that sometimes you used to be like totally expressionless.
Yeah,
Totally. Okay, Sarah. At least add some expression, please, to have that natural flair. Yeah, and that definitely was missing in your case a lot, but
for
the way you
sure.
pulled it off was amazing later. Definitely.
Thank you.
I do see a lot of improvement. Now that intrigues me to ask you how your daily routine used to be like. So, did you used to invest like a lot of hours, less hours later, more hours in the beginning, or less hours later? So, how exactly you maneuvered your journey, daily
Mm,
routine?
I think for me, it was less hours in the beginning and then more hours the more serious I got,
Mm-hmm.
personally. And at the same time, I think it depends on knowing where your strengths and weaknesses lie
Mm-hmm.
as well. So for
Mm-hmm.
me personally, I would spend the most on speaking every day. I
Okay.
would kind of overexert myself on speaking sometimes, but it would be at least an hour and a half for me.
Mm-hmm.
And that would involve both revising by myself, or like if I had a class that day, then in the evening I'll practice with the student or practice with a
Mm-hmm.
speaking partner, somebody.
Yeah.
And then listening, I'd say, like I mentioned, it was the passive sometimes and the active, but at least 25 minutes a day. and
Yeah. Non-negotiable. Has to be
yeah,
there.
has
Hmm.
to be there. And
Yeah.
for reading, it was at least 3 long texts a day. That's how it went for me. And then later on, I started focusing on the different modules within the reading section itself. Practicing a little bit from Prep My Future.
Hmm.
But there were days, honestly, when I skipped reading because there was just exhaustion sometimes.
Yeah, it is
Um,
definitely.
and for
For the
writing,
writing. Yeah.
yeah, 1 hour a day, I'd say.
Yeah.
There were some days where I do half an hour if time was short, but
Yeah.
at least practice writing something each day, whether it's a
Yeah.
short text or a long one.
Superb. So Sarah, now coming to the resources part. So you were with us for about 8 months average. Now, in this 7 months, which resources did really help you to land to the success of CLB 7? What all you used?
For the speaking and the writing section, I'd say I used your notes, like the
Okay.
notes that you guys provided for the speaking mainly. That was super helpful because my exam question actually came from the resources
Oh
that
yes,
I already
yes,
had. Yeah.
yes,
So
yes.
I was lucky
Yeah,
there. And writing as well, I just needed the structure that Tina ma'am, your team provided. That
yeah,
one was done.
yeah.
Listening and reading, I used some other sources. For the listening, it was Prep My Future. A lot
Primarily.
of that, primarily,
Yep,
yeah.
yep,
And other than that, I did the TCF listening exercises as much as I
yes,
could.
yep,
And the last one was RFE that you recommended, the podcast and the stuff available online and on Spotify as well.
awesome.
And
Yeah,
that one could be used as a supplement, like, when you're doing something else, you can passively listen to RFE on the side.
yes, yes.
And
Really
for
quiet.
reading, I did prep my future a lot for reading. And then there were some long texts that your team shared as well.
Yeah,
Hina Mams gave me some, and
yeah.
those were super helpful, the long texts.
Yeah.
And I think that
So
was pretty much it for the
yes,
reading.
yes. So that actually a big takeaway that you don't have to literally get lost in the world of material. The
Hmm.
idea is whatever you use it judiciously, use
Yeah.
it justify to the material whatever you have, and that's it. So
Yeah.
that's
Make
what the
it
message.
concise. Yeah.
Make it concise and make
Mm-hmm.
it, of course, more
Thorough. Yeah.
thorough. Right. So on that note, let's turn the table a little bit here, Sarah, for you, and let's have a quick fun game because it's
Okay.
important to know a real Sarah again, and maybe through a fun game. So, what is your most hated EO topic? Express your oral, like your speaking hated topic. Yeah, like please don't come in the exam.
Uh,
What was that?
It's le traiteur pour les
Let's try
repas.
that.
Yeah, that was my exam topic. Super
Speaking
hard for
section
me.
A, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my
No,
god.
no, section B. Section
Okay,
B.
that you have to convince somebody
Yeah.
for this. Oh yes.
Section A, I think I didn't like brocante. For some reason, I didn't like it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Or
I
like
remember.
workplace
I
topics.
remember we
Le
had to do a
travail.
lot
Yeah.
of brainstorming for this. Okay, this
Yeah.
you can do that can be asked. Right. Okay. What was your favorite topic in EO? Section A,
Uh,
section B.
I liked for section A, I liked the Le Bus discothèque, and
Okay.
section B, I like Jardin partagé
Wow.
and Bâtisseur du monde. I also
Beautiful.
like Les insectes. That was super fun to practice.
Yeah.
Gross,
Yeah.
but fun to
Cross.
practice.
Yeah. Because in that particular topic, we were like, we ourselves are not
I
convinced.
don't know, like, how would I convince myself in English to eat insects? No.
Yeah. How can I convince somebody in French in exam?
Yeah.
Do you have some good argument? I remember.
It
Yeah.
was
Okay.
crazy.
What was the most hated expressive accurate topic? Like, oh,
Mm.
please don't come in the exam types.
Les mensonges, the
Yeah.
sometimes lying is necessary, that topic,
Necessary.
super
Yeah.
abstract topic.
Yeah. Yeah. I
I
hate that
didn't
too.
like that topic,
Yeah. Me neither.
but it came on my exam as well. So do the hard
Oh,
topics.
you,
Practice the
you
hard topics.
you all got the hard topics. So actually, that's another takeaway. Please, please do practice hard topics. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm glad I looked at that topic right before entering the exam hall as well. Like the
Oh
the
my God.
practice I did for it, yeah.
Yeah.
And for
Yeah.
the one I loved, anything to do with the les réseaux sociaux, social
Yeah.
media type of
I'm
topic.
sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Easier. Yeah.
Easier. Yeah. We used to consider it's like, okay, fine, just do this and you're go on the go. Don't like sit for this topic. Right. I remember.
Yeah.
Okay. And now, what is the one French word or expression that you like the most, or you use it like most
Mm,
frequently now?
I'm still using this one, non seulement, mais aussi.
Menno salvo
I think it's
okay.
just a nice way to convince someone. Or, as you
Yeah.
said, like when we were doing the practice sessions, I would keep saying je pense
Yeah.
que every single time and
Yeah.
kept repeating that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I tried to use a variety of phrases in the exam. Those were the my
I
most
still
used.
remember when Sarah and I used to like during the class, Sarah was super, super expressionless and Sarah was super scared also. She used to
So
speak like this,
nervous.
so nervous. She used to speak like, this, Sarah, are you there? I'm like,
You're like,
okay.
why so nervous? And
Why so
then
nervous? Like she's used to be scared of me
but
or
you know,
maybe the
I
topic.
actually didn't realize that I was seeming nervous until you told me. Like, I had
Yeah.
no idea that's how I was appearing. So thank you for letting me
Yeah,
know.
yeah, no, no, that I'm glad. But yes, it is important not to show your nervousness to the examiner, and that's what I told her as well. That do
Mm,
not show this, even if you have this thing inside, just let it be. So
yeah.
yeah, great. Now, which French expression or the word that you that okay, what? Okay, let's just do another one. What first thing that comes to your mind when you hear this? Okay, let's start with this French.
Mm, amusant, très amusant.
Très amusant. Okay, TEF.
uh, challenge un défi.
Challenge, oui, un défi, grand défi en fait.
Oui.
Then Canada.
Ah, magnifique. Very beautiful. Beautiful
Ouais,
place.
yes,
Diversity.
yes. Study.
Mm, I don't know. Mauvaise. Bad.
Yeah, and people who have cleared TEF are talking like this, guys.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. And then I have a few more words for you. Listening.
Listening.
What was the first
Facile.
thing that passing? Okay.
Yeah.
Speaking.
Difficile.
It is.
Difficult.
It
Yeah.
is. Notes.
Um, non-negotiable. Important.
Important. Why? And last but not the least, learn French with Ang.
Super helpful.
Okay. And weather in Canada.
Oh, freezing sometimes, but not too bad.
Not too
You
bad.
get used to it. Yeah.
Yes. And last but not the least, success.
Um, a given with effort.
Yes. Delivered with effort, actually.
Yeah.
Yes. Awesome. Great. And now let's move on to the another thing, another few questions that I have for you. Now, let's say you, Sarah, today, you when you have had your journey with us or with the TEF, for the TEF particularly, what is it? What were your mistakes and what were your struggles during those periods? That, oh, I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have invested my time into this. I should have done that better. So, what
Mm.
were your mistakes and struggles, both?
I think one of my mistakes was the constant memorizing and thinking that that was going to make me nail the exam.
Yeah.
And striving that for that perfection. That was the reason that I was trying to memorize a whole load of information, but that was not the way to go. Secondly, I think overdoing grammar, just
Hmm.
putting all my focus on the grammar in the beginning, I'd say like I wasted a lot of time there.
Hmm.
And the third thing was not seeking out the support or like help I needed to get onto the right path. I'd
Earlier.
say, yeah, much earlier than I could have cleared the TEF a little
Yeah.
earlier as well. Saved me
Little.
some time. Yeah.
But still, you nailed it at the right time before the IRCC could change the rules further.
Mm,
So, still not bad. And Sarah, so what were your actual struggles Like, what is it, something that apart from the memorization was a mistake? So what was the struggle, like, oh my god, this is something was so difficult, and how did you overcome that?
Mm, I think for me, it was also not knowing where I was going wrong a lot of
Mm,
times. I was thinking I was doing well in speaking for a lot of the
mm,
times when I was practicing in front of the
yeah,
mirror, and I don't know, yeah, I just didn't know where I was going wrong at times. And with the peer support and your support, I felt like, I realized things that I didn't know before.
yeah, okay. And also, how many attempts you needed to reach to the success point?
Two, um, the third time I made it.
You made it. So
Mm.
what went wrong in the first two attempts?
The first attempt, I would say not knowing what was expected during the exam. I would say the first time I probably would have passed and I probably would have been prepared, but I just didn't know what the examiner was
Mm,
expecting from me. And
okay.
I think it was like something you had mentioned to me also right before I went into that exam, that
Yeah.
you're not making it natural. Like I was
Yeah.
speaking well, but I wasn't making it a natural
Natural.
conversation, which
Yeah.
was what it was meant to be for section A
Yeah.
particularly. And when I
Yeah.
went into the exam, I was delivering, but not in the right way. She
Yeah.
could tell that I wasn't being so natural, and that's where it went wrong. And she had a look on her face where I could tell that she could tell that I wasn't
Yeah.
being natural, and that changed the second time. But I also needed to focus on the strategy for the second time on for the reading section particularly.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, I needed to really make a larger effort for the reading, because as I said, there were days where I put reading on the back seat. I was like, okay, I'm prepared for reading. How hard can it be? But
Right.
the next time when I realized, okay, I really need to sit down with the reading and not just go through the text and be like, okay, I kind of understood it. I understood most of it.
Yeah.
The next
Yeah.
time that I did it, I decided to go word for word, line by line,
Yeah. Oh my
translating
gosh.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Real effort.
that's
So
where the
you
real
mean to
effort
say
was.
in the first attempt, what lacked? Speaking.
The speaking, yeah.
And the second attempt, only reading.
Yeah, and
Oh
after
my
I
God.
did the first attempt, I was like, okay, done. I just need to focus on speaking. I put hours of speaking, study time on speaking every single day, but I really needed to focus my effort on everything, like make
Right.
time for everything, just like
Yeah.
continue studying for everything.
For all the four modules,
Yeah,
basically.
it might not
And
be the same amount of time for each one, but at least everything, yeah.
absolutely. And what were your centers? All three times.
Same center each time.
Each
The
time.
ILSC. Yeah,
In
I'm just
Toronto.
someone who's like more comfortable in being in the same center, so I'd know how it goes. I'd
Yeah.
know how the examiner was.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Definitely. And Sarah, last but not the least, if you would advise somebody to start their journey today, how they should be going about it, like what should be their way of studying, or their pathway. First of all, please answer that what an average person would take really if they start from zero, considering they have no exposure of French. And
okay.
also then please help with the plan, that what would you suggest, how should they go about
I would say first of all, start. Dive
it?
into the
Yeah.
TEF.
Yeah.
Don't keep thinking about it the way I did. If
Yeah.
you've made the decision that this is what you want to do, start.
Yeah.
And then the next step I think would be seek out help from someone. If you have no French exposure, you need some guidance. You can't
Like
just,
mentor,
yeah,
tutor. Yeah.
mentor, tutor, anything like
Yeah.
to really put you on the right path, and preferably someone who has that TEF background or experience or expertise to like guide you the right way for the TEF.
Yes.
And from there, I would say do learn the grammar, but the essentials like the passé, the imparfait, the basics, but
Yeah.
don't overdo it with the grammar. Don't aim for perfection with the grammar, because that's not what the TEF is about. That's what I came to find out too late. Not too late, but
Yes.
like late.
Yeah. It's still
Uh,
not late. This such people are talking like I got, oh God, I just got 99 out of 100.
no,
That's how Sarah
Um,
is talking, right? Okay, so she cleared TEF and she's telling, "Oh my God, I'm still late." No, 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 you're just done and dusted at the right time. So,
yeah.
Sarah, how much time does an average person would take, according to you and your way of journey? So, what do you think an average person? How much time they would take, really?
I think give yourself a year at least.
Yeah,
Give yourself a year. It could be earlier than that. I'm not gonna say
cannot
definitely gonna
be,
be,
huh?
yeah.
Yeah.
But a year would be reasonable, I think, for the TEF. And if you nail it before that, it's possible for sure with the right path, with the right support, everything. Yeah.
Yes.
And the right effort. You have to put in the effort every
A
day.
lot of efforts. Yep, yep,
Mm.
definitely. Yes, and that I think sums up it all, because the idea is to have a success at the right time, but only it is possible if you put the right efforts and have the right guidance and coaching, or maybe the mentorship, and also the right kind of a support. Maybe it is through the different students or peer support, or maybe through a mentorship and coaching again. But thank you, Sarah, for having, for actually taking the time out today, because it whatever takeaways you have given has helped or would help definitely a lot of audience, as and that is something we all need today. Different perspectives, that and different stories, success as well as failure, so that they know even after two attempts you don't have to really give up. You
Yeah.
just have to work on all the four modules parallelly together. If in first attempt you lost in speaking, the second attempt you lost in reading, doesn't mean in the third attempt that you wouldn't do the writing or wouldn't do the listening. You have to do you have to focus on all four modules equally. That is a super takeaway from this podcast. Thank you once again, Sarah. We wish you
Thank you.
grand success and congratulations. And it is super, super, super like pleasure, proud, and happy that I am super, super happy that you took time out today for this wonderful podcast.
Thank you so much. And thank you for having me. It was a pleasure. And thank you for
Same.
everything, all the help as well.
Thank you. Thank you. No problem. Pleasure is all mine. Thank you so much.